Welcome to the Sister Street Show with Mary Nunley and Sharon Giro, interactive show and virtual playground where we explore topics around entrepreneurship, online and in-person events, and the games that can be played with all of it. We invite you on our journey of sisterhood discovery and trial and error in the adventures of online entrepreneurship.
Aloha, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Sister Street Show. Today, it is your co-host, as always, Sharon Otoguro, and my beautiful co-host,
Mary Nunley.
Welcome back. We always just love each other's company, and we hope you are enjoying as well. Put in the comments what has been something that has impacted you so far this year. We've really shifted our focus talking about the year of the entrepreneur, and we want to know what is making the most sense to you. Where are you in your business? What has been your biggest aha? Just drop your comments and your questions in the chat so that we can keep up and respond back to you.
Yes, and if there's something that you would like us to touch on or address, drop that in the comments too, because we want to make this show something for you. Speaking of, don't forget to go to sisterstreet.show for the full show notes, handouts, all that fun stuff. So Sharon, I know that we have got an exciting topic today. And as you mentioned in the last show, you are also a scalable coach, correct?
Absolutely. A scalable business advisor with the Scalable Company.
Excellent. So first of all, could you tell us momentarily, what does it mean as a business owner to be scalable? Because you see that word a lot, or you look at some of the gurus out there, or you read the entrepreneurial journals and magazines. It's like, is your business scalable? Be ready to scale. And a lot of us are just like, well, but I don't want to scale. I just want to make a nice life for myself. Why would I want to scale? And what does that mean? So I think that would be really helpful if we could define that first.
Absolutely, Mary. What a great question. You know, scalable can mean different things to different people, which is probably why it's confused a few of you. It confused me at first before I learned about it. But that's what intrigued me so much about the Scalable Company, was that it didn't matter where you came from, and it almost didn't matter what figure you were achieving, whether it was 5-figure, 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure. Typically, of course, they were going for the 6, 7, 8, 9. But if you were starting less than that, you could still be at that point where you wanted to quote unquote scale. What scale means is that you are ready to grow the business and grow it beyond yourself. So this is really meant for solopreneurs or people who have businesses that are considered small. Small is by the SBA defined typically anything under 250 employees, but you could attribute small to just a handful of team members, 0 to 10.
Okay.
Beyond the amount of employees that you can handle on your own, then we look at the factor of wanting to go beyond yourself. This is where you need to implement systems. This is where you need to grow your team beyond your current capacity. And this is typically scale, where you want to get it to the point where you can bring in investors. So those are some of the facets of scale: is growing beyond yourself, having to up level your systems, and there's lots of systems we're going to talk about, and getting it ready so that you can get investors or to sell in the future.
So let's say I don't want to sell. We'll address that in a later episode. But for me, the real light bulb moment was when I started learning about scaling, meant that I had other people to do the work. So if I wanted to take a vacation, if I got sick, if I needed to take a day off, my whole business didn't come to a crashing halt because I was the only person doing it all. And so thinking about scalable that way, especially when you're just getting started in business, the whole idea of selling your business or having investors can be a little overwhelming, especially if you're in the information business. However, if you think of scaling as, do I have a virtual assistant? Do I have a couple of team members? Do I have some systems in place because I want to go on vacation for 10 days and I really want to be disconnected from the outside world and relax. If you're doing it all yourself, that means that you've got 10 days with most likely zero revenue coming in, no contact with clients. That could cause your business to fall apart. Am I sort of encapsulating that correctly?
Absolutely. Being able to take a break by choice for vacations, or perhaps not by choice if you fell ill. We've been in the age this last 2 years already of COVID-19, and being able to know that your business is going to succeed without you for the short run or possibly the long run, and so that those finances can take care of your family. That is all part of being ready to scale, is having it in place. And when I say it, it's the systems, it's the automation, so that you know that your business is running without the help of you being there 24 hours, 7 days a week.
I love it. So, Sharon, you and I were talking about this in our prep for today's episode, and we were discussing like what that first step is on that entrepreneurial journey. And you had mentioned something about 10 sales.
Yes.
Can you expound upon that a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. And so there is a system that we follow at the Scalable Company, and I am a Scalable Business Advisor, licensed and ready to serve. And the goal is to get from level 1 to level 7. So the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about all those different levels so that you can start to plan and consider where your strengths are and where your gaps are. Level 1, the very first level, is just sell and serve 10 customers. So for some of you, that might be a big task if you're just starting out, if you're a coach and or if your product is long in its service run. And for some of you, it's a no-brainer. Of course, I have a restaurant. If I didn't have 10 customers, we wouldn't even survive the first hour, right? But the first level is to sell and serve 10 customers. What it means is know that you have a business by being able to actually sell the product that you have chosen to serve and sell. And so that is important, because last week, as we talked about, you got to know what your product is. And now we're going to start building the business by first knowing, did you sell it?
Excellent. So not only know what your product is, but sell something. And that also ties into something we mentioned last week, which is the difference between being busy and busy, like working on the fun or the fluff stuff. And again, nothing against people that like to create pretty graphics and stuff. And especially if you're a graphic designer, that's your product. But so often as entrepreneurs, we get overwhelmed. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and we are both talking about how overwhelmed sometimes we get. And then so we go down these rabbit holes of working on these fun, I don't want to say mindless tasks because it takes thought, but these fun tasks that take us down this rabbit hole, but aren't helping us get a sale. So instead of spending 6 hours re-recording the perfect video for the course that we want to launch, maybe we should just record a video, launch the course, get some feedback, then improve and enhance, because it's never going to be perfect on the first time. But if I don't make a sale, it doesn't matter how perfect it is. So can you kind of help us take this apart even a little bit further? Like, what do you need to do to get those first sales and move you from working in the business to actually having a business?
Great. And Mary, you hit a point on the head there. When we say sell and serve 10 customers, this level 1 through 7 can also focus on one product. So if your business is doing well, but you're launching a new product, you want to start by getting some sales in as you're doing your research so that you know what is working and what is not. The biggest and
Excellent.
most horrible mistake you could make is making it so perfect that it takes you so long to do, and then you launch it and nobody wants to buy it.
Or
So
you've
being
missed the
able,
trend.
absolutely, you missed the trend. And some of them, I got to tell you, aren't going to come cycling back and come back around in 20 years. And even if it did, are you still going to be there in 20 years? Is it 20 or 30 years for trends? I don't know.
It depends, but yeah, roughly 20 or 30 years. Like fashion, I think it's 30. Some other things it's more 20, but yeah, you could miss that trend and you don't want to do that.
Yes, Perfect. So digging deeper into this, you want to not just sell the customer, but understand the entire service process. That's why we say sell and serve at least 10 customers. By being able to get out there and just put your shingle on the door and open. I don't know if we use that phrase anymore, but I do. So, open your doors up, your open sign, and then welcome your first customers in and go through the entire process. There's a term that we speak about of the lifetime customer value, the LCV. And it's considering what that customer's journey is before they ever make the sale. So who they are, targeting them. We talked about that before. And then once you've sold them, taking them through the entire customer journey, past perhaps even the initial course that they buy or the initial product that they purchase, and going into how many times does this customer want to purchase from me, want to learn something new, and so going through not just the first sale, but the future sales. So for those of you that are just starting, just sell that first product and just finish that first product sale by collecting their money, delivering the course or delivering the product via shipping, and sending them the thank you, and really closing out that sale well. For those of you that are in an established business, consider that sell and serve, that start to finish, because that will give you more traction as you go up the ramp in the level 1 through 7 ladder. But so 10 sales, sell and serve. Mary, what concerns do you think people might have about this?
So I think some concerns that they may have is like, well, how do I know how to price my product? And that's a whole different conversation for another day. How do I maintain that customer for life? And that's something that we've been having lots of discussions on too, especially in the knowledge-based world. If somebody buys a course or buys an ebook or buys some graphics, you don't want it to be a one-time sale. You want to stay in touch with that customer till they say, stop, I've had enough. And don't be annoying, but regular communication. Thanks for my product. Hey, here's this new thing I've got. Or can I get your feedback on this? And so that builds those relationships. But I think the other question that a lot of folks have is, especially if I'm a coach or I'm in that digital space, where do I find those first 10 customers?
That's such a great question. And it's going to take a little bit with each individual to really target specifically where you're going to find yours. But the first and foremost is whoever is near at hand. And I know we hate to say that of, well, whoever, because when we talk about the avatar, we want to get focused. We don't necessarily want to just take anybody's money. But guess what? As you're starting out with a new product or a new business, especially, it's really who will buy your items. So don't get hung up on the avatar of, well, I work with female entrepreneurs who are 60 plus and have retired from a government job and have decided to go into knitting. That's great, because that helps you target your marketing if you know specifically who your colors and images and everything is designed for. But if a 20-something-year-old male who has never touched a knitting needle in his life walks in your door and wants to buy your package, sell it to them. Because this is
Exactly.
where the rubber hits the road, right, Mary?
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's where we touched on that a little bit last week too, is that sometimes we get so caught up in defining our avatar, but we don't even know if people want our product. And again, this week has been lots of conversations around this. Someone in a group that I was in has mentioned, yeah, I thought my avatar was 30 to 40-year-old women with their own home for the first time. And she said, but it's turning into 60 and 70-year-old women that have used a similar product for most of their life, and they're looking for something a little fresher. She goes, so maybe I'm approaching the wrong market. But she wouldn't have come to that realization if she was so focused on, I'm only going to sell to 30 and 40-year-old women who've bought a house for the first time. She found that by selling to everyone, she actually has two different audiences, and she'll target her message slightly differently, but it's the same product.
Exactly. So as you're starting out, sell to the people that come to buy. If you are in a physical location, you're going to be more local. So you're going to look in the local area. Where are people buying from on similar products that you have? Where are people buying in general, like shopping centers or in areas that are more highly concentrated? Is it in the right demographic area? So does the zip code match on their income levels, the level of the product and service that you offer? If it's a cheap item, household staple, or a luxury good, right? So consider, if you're physical, the location, because that is a key piece, and the industry. And then if you're in information or online, then consider those demographics that you want to search for, but also where you're going. If you are searching on social media, then that's where you should look. If you're searching by Google Ads, then that's where you should look. Focus your efforts on a couple of key channels to start and sell to anybody that chooses to purchase, and speak about your product or your business everywhere. If you are your business, then you should be talking about that everywhere you're going, at the family picnic, at church, not trying to sell, but just marketing and talking about it. And people will rise up and say, oh, that's so interesting. Where do you purchase it? And that's where you can serve, not sell at that point. It's serving. I'm in a workshop going on right now. I've taken this workshop a couple of times. Mary knows our business coach, Virginia, but she reminded us that anytime you're in a networking meeting or having some first meeting with someone, you are in the positioning phase, not the selling phase. So anytime you're talking about your product or your business, you're positioning yourself. You're sharing the message of who you are now, what you offer now. It's not the time to sell, but it is always the time to talk about. And then back to the sell and serve 10, it is anytime they say, oh, where do I buy that? Let them know. I would be happy to help you. Let's go and have a conversation, and either at that time pull them aside, or if it's not the right time, set another meeting. Don't just get their credit card right then, because we're
Yes.
looking at the lifetime value, right?
No, that is brilliant advice and a good recommendation. And again, that positioning part is so important. I'm full of stories today for some bizarre reason, but same time of thing. My partner's father passed away a few weeks ago. The funeral was not too long ago, and I had created the memorial video for them. There was some issues at the funeral home on how to get that video working because they didn't have the right cables for the computer that they brought. And at that point, Ken's going, oh yeah, this is what Mary does all the time. Her company does X, Y, and Z. If you ever need somebody to help you, because the funeral home person was just amazed, where it's like, I'm on the phone going, okay, we can do this, 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 or this. I wasn't trying to sell anything. I was trying to help my partner get through a difficult moment. But as a result of that, the person that he was working with was like, holy cow, how does she know all that stuff? And so again, it doesn't have to be buy. It's, oh, can I help solve a problem for you at no cost, within reason, in a Facebook group, in a LinkedIn post. It's like, here's what I do. And so when people say, how do I get those first sales? That's another thing to think about, is be involved in organizations, both in the physical world and online, and just answer questions and provide value without always saying, and if you really want an answer to this, buy something from me. It's more of a, have you thought about this? Oh, well, let me give you some thoughts about this. Here's why my thoughts have value, or here's why my thoughts would be credible. So
I love that. I have one final point to share, Mary, and
excellent.
it is actually from one of the co-founders of the Scalable company. So the
Fantastic.
best way that he talks about this level one, just sell and serve 10 customers, is that it gives you the focus and the frame to know that for this time period, or until you succeed, that's all you're focused on. You're not focused on the fancy, jangled marketing new tool that you can use. You don't change your whole sales programming and decide that you need to hire new people. No, your focus as the leader of the business for the first section is just to sell until you have a business that pays its bills. Sell and serve those first 10 customers. Otherwise, you don't have a business, you have a hobby.
Yes, and that is so valuable.
Yeah, and I love his example. So we're telling stories now, but when I first learned about this system, it just struck me so hard because he was talking about that movie, Hitch. Do you remember that movie with Will
Uh-huh.
Smith? And so it's the movie where, if you've never seen the movie, where Will Smith teaches this gentleman who is not really romantic, good looking, or smart or anything, how to win the girl of his dreams. And where he first said was, when you're out on a date, which is our first connection with our clients, when you're first meeting them and you're learning to dance, you don't do the crazy moves. You just stay right here, right? Right in the zone. Just stay focused. That's all you got to do is focus in on the simple step and sell and serve those first 10 customers.
Oh, I love
Staying
it.
here, staying in the zone.
Yes. Don't get sucked into the trap of pretty Canva graphics or the newest software. Focus on those first 10 customers. Sharon, this has been such a powerful conversation today, at least for me.
Absolutely.
And I am excited to see what happens next. So first of all, if you go to sisterstreet.show, we'll have some worksheets for you and we'll have some show notes. But what are we going to be talking about next time?
So next time we're going to be talking about level 2, building your growth playbook. Building your flywheel is the term that we use, but it's building those key plays that you know make the most difference for your customers. And that begins to build your special functioning process and systems. Am I stumbling
I'm
with
so,
words?
no. You were
Like
talking and then there was a
pivoting.
cattail that just came across. So
The life of a home entrepreneur. So
exactly.
but yes, we're going to be talking about those key pieces in your business that make the difference for you and that make the most difference for your customer.
I love it. I'm so excited to go down this path and really dissect this. And just a quick summary. Last time we talked about the customer journey and the importance of the customer journey, having a product and now selling that product. So just wanted to connect the dots every week. We're just going to be adding on to what we've already worked on so that if you're following along at home or you're thinking about a business, you can start mapping this out and going, okay, what is that journey? What is my first product? Who could I sell this first product to? And then next week, you'll learn what's coming up next for you. So, Sharon, as always, phenomenal explanations and just knowledge and wisdom being imparted.
Well, thank you. I have a great co-host that asks really powerful questions. And for all of you, please drop your questions as well in the chat, those comments that stood out for you, because that will help sell and serve you to the rest of our Ohana and our audience. And as always, go to sisterstreet.show and subscribe.
Thank you, everyone. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for future videos.